again.
Work. This is why drug trafficking, right? Typically, Title III intercepts are used for drug trafficking organizations because you want to identify conspirators and figure out who's who, and you want to get up the chain. You start at a low-level guy, wiretap him, see who it talks to, work your way up the chain. Okay? So now let's talk about the wiretap. The DEA does wiretaps all the time, right? They're very good. They can get up on a wire within like 24 hours. It's actually incredible how they do it. Because drug trafficking is heavily reliant upon, using the phone and everything else like this. Now, in order for you to get a wiretap on a phone, you have to write an affidavit that is very extensive. You need a bunch of different things in it, right? You need a pen register, which a pen register, guys, is a court order where you're able to see who that person is talking to, how often they talk, but you only get like the phone number and the subscriber info and then like the frequency of how long they talk. Then you use those numbers, do subpoenas to figure out who those numbers belong to, and then you identify the organization doing it that way, right? And then you mix that with surveillance, etc. Once you're up on a wire, you can hear the conversations, okay? Now, give me fours in the chat if you guys understand the basics of a wiretap and how it's used. I used a drug trafficking example to kind of give you guys an overall thing, but now we're going to go into how this was probably used for David. Because obviously, David's case is not a drug trafficking case, it's a murder case. And if you don't know, guys, ask a question. Let me know why you don't understand. Send in a super chat, MyronGainsX.com. You can send in a super chat there. All the funds that go through there help me with the college tour fund that I'm doing. If you're watching on Kick, you can just like click send a message with Kicks. Okay, cool. So most of you get it. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about a wiretap for a murder case. Now, typically, right, what I'm saying is they weren't wiretapping him when he committed the murder, obviously. What I predict is after they found her body in the car and the news broke out, that's when they probably started trying to get a wiretap on his phone. Why? Because they want to see what's going on. Okay? Now, there's a technique. It's called tickling the wire. We're really getting I'm about to give you all some real sauce now. Okay? There's something called tickling the wire. Now, if you guys remember, when her body was found in the Tesla and it was registered to David, the police originally said he's not a suspect and we aren't looking at him at this time. They also held back the autopsy report. Okay? They also held back the autopsy report. So, with them holding back the autopsy report, that gave them the ability to have a little bit more investigative leverage because they didn't want the autopsy report out there so that David can read it and be like, oh, they're onto me. So I think this was a strategy by the detectives to say, no, he's not under investigation. No, we're looking into it. We don't think it's homicide, blah, blah, blah. And then the autopsy report, they sealed that under court order. What I predict is once the news broke that her body was found, they probably applied for a wiretap warrant to listen to his phone and see how he was doing. And then also what I think they did, and this is where I'm talking about tickling the wire, they probably went to try to go talk to him. When they went to go talk to him, right, he probably lured up, said, no, thank you, blah, 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 some other shit. Well, guess what? Now they're going to monitor his phone and see who the fuck is he calling after the cops showed up. Most criminals are going to call their lawyer and then other people that might be involved in the conspiracy. When you are wiretapping someone, you get all the text messages and you also are able to listen to the phone calls. Now, I'm going to that David wasn't a retard and more than likely probably contacted people, said, hey, we need to talk. Or, hey, we need to, call me at this number. Or get on here so we can communicate. The point is that the phone probably gave the detectives the next medium that he would utilize to communicate to try to cover up the crime. So that's what I predict is how they used wiretapping in this investigation in particular. Because I remember vividly when they first found her in the vehicle, in the trunk, they made a point to say that he wasn't a subject of investigation yet. I think that was an investigative strategy to kind of not put the pressure on him yet and see how he reacts to the case going out, the case being public. And then they probably paid him a visit. While two detectives went to go pay him a visit and talk to him, someone else was back in the wire room watching the phone to see what transpired after the detectives went to go talk to him. And that, my friends, is called tickling a wire. Okay? You're agitating the subject to some degree to see how they react to a police encounter. Give me 5s in the chat if that all makes sense and you learn something new. Oh, that was thorough and makes sense. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Cool. If you guys enjoy this type of stuff, educational stuff, make sure to follow the channel. Told you guys we're taking over. All you guys that are new.
Evidence that they didn't have the power to indict. That was one thing. Now we're learning there were multiple grand juries that were all in this investigative function. Not one of them had the power to indict.
That's what came out today. The prosecution said specifically investigative grand juries without the.
Now, it's not confirmed that they did wiretaps, but we'll see. But if they did do wiretaps, that's what I predict. That's how I think that they probably used it. That because every type of crime, guys, like narco law enforcement uses wiretaps to establish a conspiracy and identify the organization. Homicide detectives use wiretaps to see how people plan the murder or the cover-up.
I tried everything to manage my insulin resistance after 35.
Right? So every crime utilizes wiretaps differently.
The power to indict. And they said it was up to the defense to request that these records be unsealed.
And the latest grand jury was what, February?
That's what they said. February was the latest one.
What was the vibe in that courtroom? Let's start here. What did David look like?
So when David came in, he was in his orange jumpsuit. He sat down. His attorney, Blair Book, immediately put her hand on his shoulder. Every time she conferred with her client, she in fact put her hand on his shoulder.
Maybe been involved with other minors. Is there anything to indicate?
Bruh, this man, the Black Epstein, man.
That those, and I want to make sure you're
How do wiretaps work when it comes to conversation with an attorney? Are they allowed to tune in? No, they are not. That's privileged and they cannot listen to that. So if a criminal calls their lawyer, they have to hang up the phone immediately. Is it automatic or active all the time or just while during calls? It's active all the time. And you get it for a period of 30 days and you can re-up it. So you can get around a FISA warrant to wiretap? No, a FISA warrant is completely different. You're going through like a different court process. FISA is for national security purposes. That's a bit different than a regular judicial wire. But FISAs are different. My uncle was in the cartels, and you don't need as much probable cause for that one because it's national security basis. My uncle was in the cartels at the time, and that would explain what he was doing in Houston. He told me his job at the time was to pick up and drop off merchandise. Yeah, that it goes, yeah. Does the CSAM matter less if it's only a matter of her? I am so lost at what you're asking.
terminology is correct?
Like you're just literally.
Time to send you to the Shadow Realm. The future is mine.
Like, bro, shut the fuck up, man. Like, I hate stupid, bro. Not everything is a conspiracy theory, bro. Like, yo, let's talk about this real quick. Yo, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. You guys are over here thinking like the government's watching you. Your mom don't even watch you. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, dude, do you realize that when you're trying to present a case for prosecution, there's a process called discovery? Do you not realize you have to disclose all of your investigative notes, all of your investigation documents, all your witnesses? You have to disclose that to the defense attorney? None of these fuckers have a clearance. Like, look, there's nothing wrong with being skeptical of the government. I actually encourage it. I've talked ad nauseum about the JFK. 9/11. But we also have to have some degree of common sense and not be and think everything is a conspiracy theory. Because what ends up happening is, it's like the boy that cried wolf. You lose credibility, okay? So let me be candid here. When it comes to U.S. law enforcement and people trying to build a criminal case against you, they cannot wiretap you without an abundance of probable cause, because all of that is discoverable. Okay? And we really need to, like, look, I'm not telling you guys to trust the government, for 100%. But we also have to have some degree of common sense here. Oh, I'm being, they're watching me. Bro, your wife doesn't even watch you, bro. If you had a wife, like, bro, nobody's watching you. You're not important, bro. Like, oh, bro, I think my phone's tap. Like, a lot of niggas are just paranoid and stupid. Nobody's watching you, bro. You're not that special. You know? What? Niggas are going to be on surveillance watching you put the fries in the bag, you Like, come on, man. Some of you guys, like, literally are some solipsistic Because listen, somebody's watching me. Like, yo, what's wrong with you guys? Take the tinfoil hat off, okay? Read a book. Figure out the law and procedures, Rule 41. Have fun with it. You have like a fucking former Fed here that's telling you what it is. I did this shit for like a decade. I'm telling you, I wrote affidavits myself. It's a lot of work. I got to write it myself, give it to the AUSA. She's got to give it to her head AUSA. He's got to send it to the Attorney General. Sorry, the United States Attorney. Then it's got to go to something called OEO, which is the Department of Justice, Maine. Then, once it's approved by like 7 lawyers, they send it back to me, and I got to take it to a district judge. It's a lot of work, bro. Took me a month to write my first Title III affidavit. And here's the thing. No one on the internet can explain it at this level. Even these FBI agents that are pundits that go on CNN or whatever, 99% of these didn't do shit on the job, bro. They didn't do shit. Most federal agents might make one criminal arrest and be the case agent every couple of years. Bro, I was doing that shit every week. I was on the southwest border. We were catching people smuggling drugs and aliens and guns and all day, dude. There were days where I went to fucking work on like a Monday. I didn't get back until like Thursday, dude.
Bombacat!
Then you're want to sit in here eating your McDonald's fries. Sounds like something a Fed would say. Shut your fat ass up. Like, bro, nobody's watching you. Nobody cares, bro. You're more than likely some fat that looks like your fingernails are probably dirty. You smell even when you shower. You get a haircut once every 90 days. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Bombacat!
Man, ain't nobody watching you, bro. You're not that important. Holy shit, man. All right, anyway.
As an announcement by
In the shadow room anyway. Enjoy.
the family that they were not planning on coming today.